everyone, it's Dianne at Minerva. I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world today. And right now I'm going to share with you a sew along for this beautiful Belgravia Knit Dress. Now it's by Liesl Co, and as you can see there are two versions that you can make for this dress. So the cover version here has a cap sleeve and front tie details, which tie here at the front, and this nice little front split. And view B has a longer sleeve and it also has ties, but these ones wrap around the body. So today we're going to be making the cover version, so it's this one here with the cap sleeves. And we're going to be doing this as a sew along, so I'd love it if you could join in and sew along with me today. And what we're going to be using is this beautiful Minerva exclusive sweater knit fabric. And this particular design is called Herbal Halo. Now this fabric is 138 centimetres wide, it's 96% polyester and 4% elastane. It's a medium weight fabric with a 70% stretch width and a 20% stretch length. So it's perfect for a knit dress. If you wish to sew along with me today, everything will be linked in the description below. So you just need to watch out for the Belgravia knit pattern, the fabric in Herbal Halo, and a matching thread. Now while you're here, we'd love it if you take a look at the Minerva Craft Club. With the Minerva Craft Club you get 10% off all your orders for a whole year, and that includes anything that you buy with us today. We'd also love it if you create a free account. With a free account you can connect with like-minded sewers from all over the world, share projects, ideas and inspiration. It's a really good place to share your sewing hobby and it's all completely free. So why not go ahead and do that now? Now before we begin, wash and prepare your fabric as you would normally. When you have it all prepped, we're going to take a tape measure and our pattern. Now it's always best to check your sizing before you start. Patterns can vary by quite a bit, and don't ever just go for your standard dress size. When you've measured yourself and you're happy, take a look at the sizing on the back and select the appropriate size. Now we're going to go and cut our pattern pieces. So we are cutting for the cover version with the cap sleeve, but should you wish to make the other version and sew along with us, just stop at the appropriate steps. Now we're ready to begin. Let's go and cut our pattern pieces together now. Here we have our pieces. So this is your bodice front. We are going to cut two pieces. This is your straight grain. Make a note of your notches and your circles. If you're making version B, there is an additional piece for the tie that goes on here. Straight grain this way, lengthen or shorten at this line here. Here we have our bodice back. Again, we're going to cut two pieces. This is your straight grain. Make a note of the notches and the point here where you lengthen or shorten. Here we have our skirt pieces. So this is the skirt front and you're going to cut two pieces. Again, this is a straight grain. Make a note of the notches and the circles. The point for the vent and the point here to lengthen or shorten. Here we have the skirt back. Again, cut two. Straight grain here, lengthen or shorten here. Note your notches. Here we have your sleeve piece, and now this one is for the cap sleeve, the cover version of the pattern. Cut two pieces, note your notches and this line here. So now we're ready to begin making our top. So first of all you want to wind half your thread onto your spool, and when you've done that check your machine needle. Now I'm using a ballpoint needle today, so you need either a ballpoint needle or a stretch needle, and I'm using a size 90 today. You might want to check on a piece of scrap fabric what's best for you. And then when you've done this, we're going to take our front pieces. Now the seams on this pattern are 3/8 of an inch, so that's just under a centimetre. So always check also that your seam allowances are included on your patterns before you begin. And on this pattern they are included, but there are some indie patterns where you have to add the seam allowance on yourself. So just always check that before you start. So we've got seam allowances included, they're 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to be stitching to our small circles here, just around sort of an inch each side. So we're going around this shaped part here. So an inch, pivot at this little dot, and then an inch along here, and we're doing that just to reinforce it. We're doing that on both sides, and that's going to be our first job. So here, look, as you can see on the pattern, we are working around this corner here, and then when we've reinforced it, we're going to snip into it. And we're going to do the same on this side as well. Look where the dot is here. We're just going to reinforce either side of that little dot. Now I'm not going to go too close because I don't really want any fraying out just here. Now we're going to fold this bodice tie in half like this, and we're going to stitch again with 3/8 of an inch along this long part and then down this side. Now really reinforce here. You want to be stretching on it a little, not too much, just a little, and do this throughout because it is a stretch fabric. And make sure you reinforce at this point here where your dot is. A couple of extra stitches there just to make sure that it's secure at that point, because we will be snipping off that because it is quite thick to be turning the belt through. So I want to make sure that for when I stitch and snip off there, that it doesn't unravel. You may also want to zigzag a little bit there before you trim it. I think it will help if you trim it because we want to get this corner to push through in a moment, and this one. So I'm just going to zigzag around that edge. You don't have to do this, but I'm just making sure that at these points where I snip it so that it pokes through nicely, that I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. It's just a little bit extra security for it not fraying. And then I'm going to trim that. Just so it's not quite so bulky on the inside. Just there. Now we can turn that through and press it outwards. So now we're going to take our front skirt piece and our top bodice like this. So place them together flat first so you can see what you're doing. So you have your tie here, and here is the front line of your bodice and skirt. So we're going to stitch, so we're going to flip this over like this, and with 3/8 of an inch, we're going to stitch this seam here to your dot here, reinforce, make sure that you've got your tie out of the way, pivot, and we're going to stitch along here, matching your notches. You can reinforce it again if you wish, and you can also edge finish your seam once you've finished. You can also just snip into here just a little. Now you're going to bring both your back pieces together, right sides facing, and you're going to stitch down your back seam with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, or just under 1 centimetre. Press the seam open. Bring your 2 back skirt pieces together and line them up. You can edge finish if you want, before or after. I've done mine before today. I've overlocked it. Pin it in position, and then you're going to stitch this seam. Pin your upper back bodice to your back skirt pieces like this, and you want to make sure that you line up your seam at the centre here. So I've got a pin directly at the centre. Make sure that they line up nicely. Pin it along, and then we're going to stitch that in place. Now, especially here, this is where you need to make sure that you do pull on it a little, that you have got a stretch stitch on, because if you think about round your waist, that's where it's going to get quite a lot of pulling and tugging when you're putting it on. Pin your dress together at the shoulder seams here and here. Then we're going to stitch these in place again, 3/8 of an inch or just under 1 centimetre. And then when you've done that, you can edge finish your seams and press them open or to one side if you wish. Now pin your neckline to the wrong side, 1/2 inch. Now you can stitch it in position and then stitch just inside that row of stitching. You can overlock finish it and then stitch it in place, or you can pin it like I've done, and now I'm going to base stitch it first, and then I'm going to use a twin needle on mine. So choose the option that's best for you. But with using the twin needle, I'm just going to baste it first, just to make sure that it all stays in place, and then I can take my pins out. Now at this point, I'm also adding a Minerva maker label. So I've added it in at the back central seam here, and then I've base stitched it all down around the neck, and now I'm going to do my top stitching. So what I've done is I've changed to my twin needle, and I'm going to work from the right side. Now you're going to join your front centre seam, so pin it all in position, making sure that you match this front seam here where the bodice joins to the skirt. And also, when you get to this point where your dot is here, where your circle is, you're going to reinforce, and then you're going to change to a basting stitch when you stitch down to the bottom. That's because what we're going to do is we're going to roll this back and stitch it in place. And then when it's all been secured and pressed, we're going to open that up after. So this is just basting stitches from this dot downwards. So the vent here, you're going to turn it back, and you're going to turn it back again, then you're going to stitch that in position. Now I'm just going to baste it. I'm just going to hand stitch it on the inside. You could machine stitch it if you want, but I want mine invisible at this point, so I'm just going to hand stitch it. So now I've unpicked my base stitching here, look, and I've pressed it. So now you can see I've got my front vent. Now we are going to join our side seams. And we're going to line up our notches. I'll find my notch, here it is. There's our underarm. There's this notch here that lines up with this seam, the front seam, and then there's also one further down here. So line up all of those first of all, and you're going to pin those in place before you pin the rest of it. Just make sure that all of these key points are in the right place before you pin all the way down the side of your dress. Stitch your side seams of your underarm seams rather of your sleeves. Then when you've done this, we're going to pin them in position. Now with your dress the wrong way and your sleeve the right way around, place it inside the armhole like this, matching up the notches here. So here we have a 1 notch, pin that in place, the underarm seam, two notches on this side, get a pin, not a sewing needle to do that, and this point here to your shoulder, which you will open up. Now finish pinning it the rest of the way and stitch in position. So at this point, check the hem length on your dress. Now I've overlocked mine here as well, and I've also overlocked around my bottoms of my sleeves, but what I am going to do on mine is I've changed back to my twin needle and I'm going to turn it up and I'm going to top stitch it from the top with the twin needle again for the hem. So you can either fold it under and edge stitch it, you can overlock it, or you can stitch it with the twin needle like I'm going to do. Tie, if I open it up. I suppose you could have it just once or twice, depending on what you prefer. The sleeves are nice, comfortable fit. Well, I hope you've enjoyed sewing along with me today. I really enjoyed making this dress. I think it's a beautiful pattern and it has such a lovely shape to it. Now, it's perfect for any knit. You could use a ponte. I think any of our new Minerva exclusive French terry fabrics would look beautiful in this. And also maybe a stretch velvet for a special occasion. It is a really beautiful shape. I hope you have fun making this. Please let us know in the comments below if you've made this pattern before, along with any photographs. We always love to see what you've been making. And remember to like and follow Minerva to get more video content like this every week. Now, if you like what I'm wearing today, this is a simplicity pattern and it's 8982. And this particular design is called Brushwork Prints. And this is also one of our Minerva exclusive range knit fabrics, and I particularly like the deep cuffs on this one. So I will link those products below also in case you're interested in an additional make today. Well, thank you for watching. I hope to be back soon with another sew along. Bye for now.